With that, please welcome to the stage Jonathan and Polina, who will be telling you about unstoring your data with AI and NEAR.
Thank you, Clemens. We are going to be doing a demo, so let's just see if we can get our machine hooked up here. Okay. All right, great. So that's all looking good. Okay, so before we get to the demo, we're going to talk a little bit about data and uh-oh.
Yay.
Yes, and what we're building out on Machina. So I'm Jonathan.
I'm Polina.
Yes, we are two of the founders of OnMachina, and we're building decentralized infrastructure starting with a storage network. So Polina's going to talk a little bit about why we are starting with storage and what we think of the storage landscape.
Yeah. So welcome to the Generation Zettabytes. As you can see by this graph, the amount of data that people produce is actually growing pretty rapidly, starting from 2010 and 2025. You can actually see from this graph that for the next roughly 2 years, we'll grow about 30 to 25%. And this is a very rapid transition from where we started. As the phone gets better, you know, the data, images, files became bigger and bigger. And the thing about this is, as a fact, all of this data is unstructured. Well, 90% of the data is unstructured. And how to work with that, and why is this important, or rather, in fact, starting at 1970s, all the data was rather queried or put in the database, so you would know a question that you need to ask or statistics that you want to collect before you got to organize your data. And that's why everything was put in the database correctly. Then once the Google started to emerge, you had this mechanics of MapReduce, and we shifted to a big data. So now you have profiles and all the other things, and to collect statistics, you can reduce and you know the query later. And then we have a data lake, as you can organize the data into the blobs, and you have some agility in terms of how you can put a question and gather your statistics. And now, as we're headed into 2020s, we are in 2020s, now we got to intelligent data. So all of our data can be unstructured, and we still can work with that because of the AI. We no longer have to know the questions to structure our data correctly. We just work with the data as it is. And at the same time, AI will require the data, and the rocket ship of AI is fueled by the data. And it has to be trained on the huge amounts of data and refined of massive amounts of data. And mentioned in the data lakes, and the hydrogen is the fuel for the rocket, so this is a good analogy with the lake. As we start to unstore the data and feed it to the AI, we have to bring the data out of the lake into the rocket ship. And more important it becomes to make the data actually being owned by the users, because AI is not just powerful for the human who use it. Like every one of us sooner or later goes to ChatGPT to write some email to the people you don't like for some reason, being polite. And yeah, it becomes powerful for us, but it also become powerful for all these corporations and for the bad actors. And this is why it's very important to control your data, as the huge evil corporations will try to vacuum clean it up and monetize your knowledge.
Yeah, so I think that we're facing a situation now where, as Polina said, you know, we have more data than ever before already, and it's just going to continue to grow at incredible rates. The big change is that we are now having the ability to process and access and learn from unstructured data in ways that we never have before, which is awesome, but can also be scary. One of the things that we believe is that as this data becomes accessible, becomes usable, becomes intelligent, we don't want to see that just centralized into the hands of a few powerful institutions. And we're coming out of an era where cloud computing has really been one of the greatest forces for centralization in the history of technology. We've ended up with kind of an oligopoly of just a few cloud providers that provide most of the computing resources for the world. But if cloud, is a big center of gravity, big mass, AI is going to be even more that way. Like the default that we're heading towards right now is everybody wants to give their stuff to OpenAI. Everybody wants to feed their data into ChatGPT and train it and make it better. But I think it's really important that we pause and we go, wait a minute, what is the impact to each of us? What is the impact to our businesses? What is the impact to the ability of us as humans to learn and understand and interact with each other? One of the reasons why these big centers of gravity, like cloud providers and AI providers, succeed at sucking up so much data is because when you have a centralized system, it's easy to build a common API. And when there's a common API, that makes it easy for apps to live on top of those systems. So with OnMachina, we are creating systems and structures where you can put a common API on top of an entire nebula of stars, on top of a highly decentralized set of operators and data center managers. And then you can navigate around that, and you can decide how much control you have over your data, where it lives, who has access to it. So this is, I think, a really important thing to think about now. Is we're still in the early days of AI, still in the early days of unlocking all of this unstructured data, so that we can make good decisions and potentially different decisions than we've made recently. So we started with a storage network, and we do have a common API that sits on top of a federated set of nodes across data centers. And that API is very simple. But simple can be really powerful, too. Our API is a REST API with 5 HTTP verbs: get, put, post, head, and delete. And that's good because it means it doesn't take a ton of time to understand how to interact with this storage system. As I said, we're going to do a demo in just a couple of minutes. But to talk a little bit more about how it's built and why we're here at NEARCON and at the hackerspace, our identity management is totally integrated with Near. So if you have a Near account, then you have access to OnMachina. Now we're in a private beta right now, so go to onmachina.io, fill out the form, or hit us up afterwards if you want to get early access and try it out. But Near acts as an auth layer, and then that connects to a proxy layer that sits on top of nodes from different providers all over the world. So right now we have nodes in 3 continents, in Europe, Asia, and North America. And those nodes live in data centers that are on different networks and from different providers. So this is a key part of the decentralization here, is that this is not all controlled and owned and operated by a single entity at the end of the day where the data is living. And so as we unstore the data, as we bring it out of these archives and out of these data lakes and feed it into AI systems, it's really important to think about what this means and be very cognizant of also where we are in the AI journey. We had one of our designer friends help us with some of these slides, and he decided to use AI to create some of this. And he gave a prompt to one of the AI image generators and said, create a book in the style of a New York Times bestseller with the title Unpredictable. And so this was result 1, unpredictable. This was result 2, I don't even know how. Predictable, yeah. Unpredictable. This is, I think, another good thing to keep in mind about where we are in this AI revolution. It doesn't always work yet.
It's a little bit dyslexic.
It's a little bit, yeah. It's a little bit, incomplete in its abilities. So again, you have to think about, like, wait a minute, what am I sending my data into? What are the risks? What are the potential fallouts if, the AI takes this kind of turn? And so we think that in an unpredictable world, in a world where things are rapidly changing, decentralization is important because it helps us stay agile. And properly built, it gives us a great user experience, and it gives us the ability to own our data. So, all right, we said that we would do a demo, so let's go ahead and jump over to that.
A console.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start in a browser here. So this is an example web app that we built. It's just a simple JavaScript front-end app. It's a handful of files, put it together in basically a day. And it gives a view. I am logged in with my Near testnet account, jbryce.testnet. It gives a sort of a file system view. And I can create containers, which are basically like folders. So NEARCON 23 demo. And we'll come back here, and voila, there it is. I have some containers that already exist. This is a picture of me with my first computer.
Yay.
I was a lot cooler back then, actually. And we can, upload files. Go over here, and let's pick, maybe this, and upload it. So, this is pretty simple, right? We've got basic file browser functionality. But again, yeah,
Yep.
just add it. So this is all built in, again, a super simple stateless JavaScript front-end app. I could run this locally on my machine. It's currently running on a Netlify deployed website. And it's using those 5 HTTP verbs, get, put, post, head, delete, to create this interface. What's cool about it and where it gets powerful is that because it's simple like that, you can combine that into a lot of different commands. Now, I'm going to use curl here. Curl is a command line utility that exists on pretty much every Unix-based system for many, many decades. So if I go ahead and I get my account status, you'll see the same list of containers, including that one that I just created. I could go, let's see, let's do a put here. So that will create a new container. Test container 0.
Yep.
I can put a file into that container. We'll just do a text file here. And now if we call a get on that container, then we'll see that I've now created a container, I've created a file. So all of this is pretty simple stuff. Where it gets cool and powerful is because it's these simple commands, you can combine them together, you can script them, you can program them to be much more powerful than that. So if we go back to the top level of my account, you'll see that I like to script things. I had created 1,000 containers with 1,000 objects in each of them, so basically throwing up millions of things onto the system. And there are a few of these left, but let's say I want to clean out all of the files in container 01. So over here I have a file that just has paths in it. Let's go ahead and update this so that instead of 00, it's 01. If I go back over here, I can send that file to the system as a, let me see, there we go, as a bulk command. So this is going to be a bulk delete command that I send that file, and if we go back and we click in here, it had 1,000 objects in it. You can see it has fewer. They're getting deleted.
Yeah, it will take a little bit.
We refresh again. Fewer, and this is just going to keep running. So you can combine these into really powerful scripts. And I'm just doing all of this directly from a ZSH command line here. So this is, nothing fancy. This isn't a special client. This isn't anything like that. Just piecing these together. The other side of all of this, though, is that we have decentralized the way that nodes are added to the system. Yeah. So I mentioned that we've got 3 continents. I think that we should bring Sao Paulo online into the network right now. So I created a server just a little while ago. If we look at this server, you can see it's been online for about 2 hours. And it is SAO01. So we'll go back to my operator dashboard. And this was DS in SAO01. Now what this is going to do is I'm logged in again with my testnet account. It's going to create a sub-account on NEAR. We require staking some NEAR as a little bit of security. On the testnet, it's only 1 NEAR. But basically to kind of get all of our operators into a state where we're all helping to secure the network. So we will create that account. All right, that has now been created.
Our stake has been accepted.
Yes, it's created a credentials file. I'll download that. Gives us some commands to run on our server to prep the file system. So we'll go over here. We'll run those. Let me make sure that credentials file got downloaded. It did. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we upload that to our server. All right, that is on there now. Our file system is prepped, and we can now run this command that will start up a Docker image and connect to the network.
Yeah. So what we just did, we pretty much established a new node inside the storage network. So previously we had 4, as you saw on the slide. We added the 5th one. So what it's going to do right now is actually try to sync up all the file pieces from the other nodes and redistribute them to add for the new nodes.
So let's create some new data and get some activity happening here. And
as we put the new files, they get redistributed in between the networks. So every node has a piece of the file. And so as we spun off the new node just now, it will first sync the files from the previous nodes. But as we add new files, it will as well receive new file pieces. So that's what we'll try to do right now. Jonathan, did you just push a file?
I did, yes.
So
it takes a few seconds to refresh and start pulling data. But we can come back and check it in just a minute. But anyway, the thing that is great about this is that the operations and the front ends, the back ends, everything is decentralized in a way that that allows people to participate in this network, to come and join the network, add capacity, to leave the network. You know, we must have hit in the middle of a refresh rebuild cycle. I'll keep an eye on it. Let's finish out with our last couple of slides, Polina, and then we can.
Oh yeah, quick summary. Actually, we're running out of time as well. Yeah, so can you press? Yes. As a summary, the data are growing massively right now, and it will continue on growing rapidly. Then we would need the data to become intelligent, and AI will feed on it, will feed from this data. As well, it is important to have control of your data, as it becomes more and more centralized as we use the projects like Facebook or Google Cloud or OpenAI being not so open recently. So yeah, centralization becomes more and more risk. And that's why it is very important to have your data decentralized and stored in OnMachina.
Yeah. All right. So again, we're going to be around here for a little bit. Come find us if you want to get into the private beta. OnMachina.io is the website. Scan the QR code. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.